very demonstrable. Okay, if your wife comes up to you and asks you, "Does this dress make me look fat?" Okay, 99.99999% of you motherfuckers are gonna be like, "No, honey, that looks great." Okay, you're gonna fucking lie. Okay, to save your own ass. Okay, and just to be clear, if that dress looks like dog shit on her, that lie is coming at her expense. Okay, so again, it's not just as simple as lying bad. Like, it just doesn't work that way, brother. You know what I mean? We all have these little micro decisions we got to make every day, okay? And we're choosing our battles every fucking day, okay? Casual Exchanges podcast, where most of the time we are going to try to walk through thinking about novel, everyday, normie problems. But this is going to be a lot like those super rare coffee beans that they pull out of like elephant shit. Okay, well, sometimes you get those rare coffee beans. Other times it's just a pile of elephant shit. Welcome in. Am I the asshole for being upset at my boyfriend for getting a boner from another girl? Bro is cooked. Bro is cooked. Bro should have lied and said it was a dude. Virtually impossible to be in a bad mood with Macho Man stuck in your head on repeat. I don't know if that's true. One thing I did, this actually is kind of a fucking hack. But somebody once told me, like next time you're really fucking angry, like really just like fuming, try angrily saying the word bubbles, and it just kind of turns your shit around because there's no real aggressive, rageful way to just like fucking bubbles, you bitch motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? Like it turns the whole thing around. You just it immediately softens the tone when you say the word bubbles. Coworker asked me to pose topless for an anatomy textbook. Okay, interesting. What we're gonna find out in this thread is it's a dude. Both of them are actually dudes. Ooh, today you are the oldest you have ever been and the youngest you will ever be again in your life. Yes, obviously, but I think I take this to the next level, and I try to frame this. I try to frame this right here as also I am the best I've ever been on a lot of like measurable metrics, but also hopefully, if I'm doing things right, I'm the worst I will ever be again. Because from here, it should just be more steps forward. You know what I mean? 5 years from now. And this is something I don't think we think about enough, but this is probably what we should put like time, effort, thought behind, is trying to hold this to be true. You know what I mean? Because especially like I would say like the first half of your life, I feel like there are plenty of people. I know plenty of sharp fucking people well into their like 50s, 60s. You know what I mean? Like still out there on the grind, like in some ways, the prime of their life, the best they've ever been. You know what I mean? So I feel like we don't. I don't think we think about this enough, and it's a little too easy because of all the social media stuff. There are a lot of distractions, and so it's very easy to let time pass you by. And you look back at the last 5 years, and you're like, "Oh fuck, I haven't done anything." It's like that's a really shitty feeling and somewhat demoralizing, right? And it all just kind of starts to compound and make you feel like a loser piece of shit, which isn't always super motivating to people. For me, that's when I find most of my motivation is realizing like, oh my god, I could have been doing this. I could have been doing so much better. Could have been doing so much more. That is what lights the fire for me to be like, okay, all I got to do is start. You know what I mean? The time is wasted. That's gone. I'm not getting that back. But I can make sure not to waste the next 5 years. But I understand the perspective that other people might hold. That like, oh fuck, it feels like so much weight on you with that knowledge. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna waste more time? That seems like the opposite of what we were just talking about. You want to do. Anyways, just as a quick disclaimer for the video that we're about to start, having to do with signs that somebody is a bad person. I want to make the disclaimer that I do think we can distinguish when actions or even potentially people are bad. the arguments, some of the arguments I go through, playing a little bit of devil's advocate for a couple other prompts, is just to demonstrate the fact that people are not coming to this conclusion through any sort of analysis or framework of like values or any sort of like moral framework. Okay, it's very much like a vibes thing, which again is fine, but just understand that, and just understand that if it's a vibe thing, you may not be applying this consistently. Okay, um, I don't. I give the disclaimer just so that I don't come off too moral relativist throughout the video, because that's kind of the vibe. If I don't come out and say it outright, that no, I do think we can distinguish between sometimes things are bad, sometimes people are bad. Okay, but it requires a little bit more fucking analysis than somebody saying like, anytime you fucking make jokes at people's expense or some dumb shit like that. Okay? Anyways, I'll fuck off now. Thanks. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Here's my problem with threads like this. What is a clear sign that somebody is a bad person? Like, I feel like we just, this is one of those threads that just very normally outlines to me that we just have like no, we don't put things through any sort of fucking analysis before we say them. Okay, because like the reality is that things exist, people and things, okay, and different circumstances, okay, they are complex and they exist on a spectrum. Okay, is there any one thing that can dictate to you that somebody is just a bad person? Okay, and this is a conversation nobody wants to have. Okay, but okay, so define a bad person to me. Okay, because what you're going to do is you're just going to describe things that you say are bad. Okay, well, people, a bad person lies. Okay, and they hurt people. Okay, and they fucking beat their wives and kids. Okay, like shit like that. Okay, but it's like, okay, so you started it. Okay, bad people lie. Like, okay, you've never lied before. I would have to say 99.9999999% of the planet has lied, like throughout their life. Okay, and then even take it to the past year. You haven't lied at all, not even by omission, in the past year. Well, it depends. Not like white lies. Like, okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Now we're putting into context. Okay, not just lying. Okay, but lying at the intentional expense of another person. Okay, so see how we can't just say, well, bad people lie. You know what I mean? Even something like hurting somebody or killing somebody. Okay, there are also arguments of self-defense. Okay, so this is why it's important. I don't mean to be pedantic, but this is why it's important to actually analyze what your response is to this. Okay, or else it just comes off as, when I read it, obtuse and dull. Okay, as in you didn't have any actual thought behind this. You just said something without any sort of actual analysis, which again is fine. Just understand that that's what you're doing, and understand that, like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't as close to the truth as I make it out to be on Reddit. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's fight with people on Reddit. I'm gonna fight with, maybe this is super insightful, but my thought is I'm gonna be able to find a defense for every one of these. They talk bad about everyone to everyone else. Again, it's like, does talking shit make you a bad person? Just inherently? We all think about this for 10 seconds. You don't talk shit about that guy at work who does nothing, and then you have to pick up the slack. You never talk shit about that guy. You never talk shit when your mom wants you to do something that you don't want to do, and she's being a little snippy about it, okay, because she really wants it to get done. You never go to your friends and talk shit, okay? Or when your wife or significant other is on your ass about something they've asked you to do 15 times over the course of the past 5 months. Okay, you don't go to your friends and be like, oh man, the missus is just fucking on my ass about this shit. Like, I've had a long week, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, so you just never, ever talk shit. Okay? No. This is not true. Okay? I understand, and again, I understand the partial message behind this, yes, I think personally, I don't partake in gossip. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of a bunch of like idle speculation and shit like that, especially about like people and their motivations and intentions and their, especially like personal shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care to do that. I don't give a fuck. Especially if I'm at work, I'm working, bro. I'm not the water cooler guy. I leave my desk to go on walks and lunch. Okay, I got to walk to burn off the lunch. Um, so I'm not that water cooler guy. But again, this immediately makes somebody a bad person. Like, dumb fucking take, bro. Think about it for 10 seconds. We all talk shit. It's what we do. We normally talk shit to people, who are closer to us, who we confide in. And some people are really silly and talk shit to people that they're not super close with. Okay. But still, that immediately makes you a bad person? No. It makes you silly. Yeah. That's something silly that people do and is likely not good for furthering relationships. Makes them a bad person? Like, no, probably not, bro. Oh, shut the fuck up. I don't care about any of the people defending this. Always joking at other people's expense. Again, this is the most soy shit I've ever seen, bro. This other person, like both these people, the same fucking person who got made fun of, you know what I mean, by a couple of coworkers, and now they're just soying out on fucking Reddit. You know what I mean? No, halfway kidding, halfway not kidding. Um, Again, like people make jokes. Okay, should you always be making jokes at the expense of other people? Like, no, probably not. Not nice. Not a great way to build a relationship. You know what I mean? But when I'm like I was literally just at the petting zoo, at a pumpkin patch, and they had this fucking massive, ginormous fucking pig. Okay, this thing looked like borderline the size of a cow. Okay, the first thing I do, take a picture of it, send it to my buddy. Hey, bro, what's your mom doing out here? Come pick her up. You know what I mean? It's like, it's this is something that like we do. You know what I mean? Like, is that the way that you should communicate with everybody? No, but again, that makes you a bad person. Like, again, now if people come back to me and they're like, hey, like I really don't appreciate this and stuff like that, like yeah, I'm gonna adjust the way that I communicate with them. But if my kind of baseline for communication is a little bit more vulgar, a little bit more abrasive than what other people like, you know what I mean? It's like, does that make me a bad person? Do we really think it's everybody's intention to just like shit on a bunch of other people? Or maybe that's just how they communicate. And thus, if we want this to be a compatible relationship, you bring it to me and you're like, hey, bro, let's ease up on the mom jokes. You know what I'm saying? A real sensitive subject for me since mine left when I was like 6 years old or whatever. You know what I mean? Went out for a pack of smokes. You know what I mean? I think that's a better approach. Assuming that everybody who makes jokes at people's expenses is a bad person, pretty dumb take. Lies and manipulation, hurting people, no sympathy for hurting people isn't normal, aka psychopath. Again, this is gonna sound again, I'm just going to come off like super contrarian because obviously I'm going through and I'm trying to defend each one of these, and that is because my thought is that there was no analysis whatsoever done by this, okay? By any of the people posting this, which again, that's fine, but then it's also fine for me to go through and point out where you have a blind spot, where it's just like you just had like this knee-jerk reaction and that's what you blurted out rather than actually going through and creating some sort of analytical framework for it. Okay, sure. Lying, again, we've already established, most people would agree on the surface, lying bad, but oh well, when you factor in like these other things, like it's really, lying with the intention of taking something away from somebody else, like there's some intentionality behind the lie. Okay, because again, it's very demonstrable. Okay, if your wife comes up to you and asks you, does this dress make me look fat? Okay, 99.99999% of you motherfuckers are going to be like, no, honey, that looks great. Okay, you're going to fucking lie, okay, to save your own ass. Okay, and just to be clear, if that dress looks like dog shit on her, that lie is coming at her expense. Okay, so again, it's not just as simple as lying bad. Like, it just doesn't work that way, brother. You know what I mean? We all have these little micro decisions we got to make every day, okay? And we're choosing our battles every fucking day, okay? And again, I can also, as obnoxious as I'm being and trying to play devil's advocate for this, I can obviously also come up with circumstances and situations in which, yes, these things are bad. You know what I mean? I guess maybe I'm just an asshole and I just like to play devil's advocate sometimes. I always forget you can click these. Again, hurting people and no sympathy for hurting people is normal. Yeah, maybe. But then again, if somebody like if somebody breaks into your house and then you end up fucking fighting them and mauling the shit out of them because you're just this beast of a human, it's like, is everybody gonna feel bad for like defending their shit, their property and people? Probably not, bro. You know what I mean? Like just straight up, some people are not gonna have that much sympathy because again, they were borderline forced to do it. When they treat people differently based on what they can get from them, like again, does this make you a bad person? Like inherently, like say you're giving $1 million a fucking year to charity, and you fucking donate every weekend of your life, like at the local shelter, like. But then also you play a little bit of politics and you make sure that you're greasing the right palms and shit like that. It's like, again, it's not clear to me. Again, like it's just not clear to me. They do not take accountability and admit when they're wrong. Like, is this something that I enjoy when people do? No, absolutely not. Are these the kind of people I want to surround myself with? No, absolutely not. Do I think that makes them a bad fucking person? Again, like I just do not think so. Like, you know what I mean? Are there instances where this is potentially this person is a bad person? Yes, probably. But as a blanket statement, is this the thing that triggers it in my mind? Like, this person's a piece of shit. This person's probably plotting my fucking downfall as we speak. No, bro. And just to be clear, this is something that we all fucking struggle with, okay? This right here, we all struggle with fucking accountability and admitting when we're wrong, okay? To some extent. It may not be on the net balance, but maybe it's with your wife, your dad, your best friend. You know what I mean? Where there's probably someone out there that you can't admit you were wrong to, where it hurts your fucking pride to say, like, just flat out, I was wrong. That was my bad. You know what I mean? Like, we clearly should not have taped the hamster to the Roomba, okay? No, I'm kidding. Kidding. We didn't do that. Okay? I can't even afford a Roomba, okay? Um, but, anyways, again, so, like, if I acknowledge the fact that, like, this is something that a majority of people struggle with to some extent, then it's like, okay, do I really think this is it? This is the straw that broke the camel's back that makes all these people dog shit? You know what I mean? Probably not. And again, this should be something that we look at and be like, why of all things do I think this is the one non-negotiable thing that makes somebody a fucking piece of shit? You know what I mean? Like, if that's what we're talking about, if it's like, again, I don't understand why all of these things have to be looked at through the lens of like morality. You know what I mean? Again, are they character flaws? Like everything we've discussed so far? Like, yeah, probably. You know what I mean? But I don't understand why we have to put it through the scope of like morality. Like, this makes you a bad person. It's like, that's probably not true. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think my guess is if I had a conversation with any of these people, I could get them to admit, okay, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that. Or, yeah, like, well, that's different, or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Completely get them to back off of this fucking position, which is my whole point. It's okay. It's okay to have these knee-jerk reactions. Just understand that that's what you're having, okay? Because that is not as close to reality as you can get if you actually put some neural activity behind the things that you're thinking and saying. And that's all, folks. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. That way you can talk shit on my next video too, all right?